A good late night to you, wherever you may be located. I'm Rockin' Larry Locken, coming from the Oregon coast with Pleiaian Talk. Tonight I've got with me Michelle Walling in Texas and Tyler Biedebach in Tennessee, and they're going to discuss a little bit about the frequency upload meditation that was done through the Extraterrestrial Communication and Star People group on Facebook, and they're just going to share a little bit about that and what the experience was like for them. So, Tyler, welcome. How are you?
Doing very well, Larry. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, awesome. Michelle Walling, late night, early morning in Texas. How are you, sweetie?
Hey guys, I'm doing great. Thank you. Thanks for doing this impromptu session here. This is great.
Okay, Michelle, I wanted to have you maybe start off the show a little bit and talk about what this meditation's about. And I know, of course, I wanted to get Tyler on here to share his experience with it and his thoughts as well. So, partner, it's all yours for the time being.
Well, I'm just hanging out. I'm just a part of
Cool.
this wonderful meditation that I was invited to about an hour before it started, and
Oh, wow.
I'm going to let Tyler share his experience. I just wanted to join in tonight and let Tyler go through with what he wanted to, and then I'm just going to I made some notes about what I did experience, and hopefully, the people who were on the meditation can listen to this and see if, as practicing, when you're practicing meditation, it always is good to have confirmation. So that's why I wanted to come on the show, just to provide what I was intending and what I was envisioning, and then, that way people can say, oh my goodness, yeah, I saw that or I felt that. So, Tyler, tell us what you saw and felt.
Right on. Thank you. Um, so it definitely was impromptu. Um, in the process of getting ready for something like this, one wants to keep in mind definitely to make sure that you are protecting yourself in the form of summoning higher vibrational beings and using your discernment to know between the good ones and the ones that are, maybe teaching you a lesson in a way that you wouldn't like in that particular instance, and dismissing that guide and summoning another one for. So you do want to do protective meditations before you do things like this. There's a really good article on N5D, What to Do Before Meditating, which basically, in a nutshell, has to do with focusing on basically expanding white light around your being, then, around filling the entire room and the entire state, in the entire country, the entire world, in the entire galaxy, and the entire universe. Just want to continue to expand that out now, and that definitely puts you in a state of mind and a state where you can receive those higher vibrations a lot easier and a lot more quickly. So that being said, first and foremost, definitely want to make sure that you are in a state where you're grounded and you're got a good amount of water maybe nearby, so that you can make sure that that's something that can ground you. And during the meditation, when it first started, I was thinking of third eye mirror practice. That was just something that I was really drawn to during that. So taking a couple of deep breaths and getting to a state of mind where I was doing deep breathing, I was able to look into the mirror and basically look in and see myself standing on the other side of this mirror, um, as basically a thedric form, whereas I was basically this giant electromagnetic blue being, that was just vibrating on such a frequency that I emanated blue, but I was surrounded by kind of a pink torus like bulb or energy sphere. So I was basically going through that, and then was basically using that as kind of my portal to kind of go to this summoning, basically, where we were putting our intention of thought into this together, and very very distinctly had a like green brown background, almost like leafy. But it looked kind of smeared. But then, like, on this like blurry green brown background, there's a bright white flash of What it kind of reminded me of was on Lord of the Rings, how they have the white tree, but the actual logo for it, it was just very vivid in the middle of like this green and brown imprint. Um, so it was definitely something that we had kind of a chat going on, and something that I had contributed to the group. Um, which that was definitely something that I felt was like very prominent to my experience with it. It was very cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of people had posted in the chat that they had the experience of perhaps feeling earthy or trees, perhaps, green in the background. Yeah, so I guess is this my cue to tell you what I
Yeah,
experienced?
and actually, Michelle, before we do that, I would also like to give a shout out then to the gentleman that hosted this, Daniel Powell, I believe is his name, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Okay, great.
correct.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Daniel. And it's just cool there. Little experiments like that remind me of different experiments that have been going on around the country of people um, using intention as a form of doing experiments. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just trying to remember what Michelle and I had been talking about studies done kind of, I believe it was in Texas. Is that right, Michelle, where they basically wished for good weather?
I'm not sure which one you're talking about, Tyler.
I'm going to see if I can look it up on in 5D here real quick.
Okay. Well, let me while you're doing that, I'm just going to go into a little bit about how my meditation started. Of course, I always call on my spirit guides and angels and my space brothers and sisters of the light. And I asked them to, protect me and help me connect with everybody who was in this meditation. And so I put on some tribal music, and I lit a candle, and I had my frankincense going, lit some frankincense, and it was a really good choice of music because um, I I was connecting with fire, and so I imagined after I did my grounding technique and brought the energy up from Mother Earth up to my first chakra, my root chakra, which is red, and then up to my sexual chakra. With the breath, I brought the energy up from the root to the sexual chakra, which is orange, and then I brought it all the way up to the sacral chakra, which is yellow. Then I brought it up to my heart, and then up to my throat. The heart's green, and to my throat, which is blue, and then to my third eye, which is kind of a purple, and then to my crown, which is like a violet, and then out to my higher self, my soul, my monad, and creator, and then I came back into my heart. So once I was in my heart, I just had the thought to imagine that I was around a campfire and that everybody on the meditation was holding hands and basically connected that way. And the thought intention that I had, and I just started speaking out loud, was that we join with our hearts and that we exchanged frequency codes with each other, and that our higher selves and our souls were actually downloading that information for us. And then since we were connected, and Tyler had mentioned something about the fingers before we came in, so I imagined that through our hands that the energy went from like my heart all the way around the circle, and then from there everybody else's energies also connected. And what I did is I imagined that I was growing my threefold flame inside of my heart, and which is pink, blue, and yellow, and that when that started expanding, it created an orb, and the orb joined the fire in the middle of the circle. And the circle, of course, being a way of a circle, of course, being the creation of life. Everything circles within circles within circles. And so everybody started putting their energy within that circle in the fire, and this one big, huge orb started growing. And I think Tyler had mentioned before we got on this call that he had seen that you had seen some orbs, with different colors. So that just kind of confirms. I think we were on the same thought pattern there.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. So we were growing this thought pattern as well as downloading codes from our space brothers and sisters and our higher selves, and we were sharing them with everybody, and we grew this orb bigger than the circle and then as big as the earth to where it encompassed the whole earth. I don't think I mentioned this, but the location for me that I imagined was like this one location that I went to Mount Shasta one time, and it was up in the mountains, and just like camping and with trees around it and everything. And also, Daniel had said that he felt like he had a hard time breathing, and that would, if he was tuning in to us, then he would get that to me. They would get that thought because it would be high elevation. So that was a good confirmation. And let's see, I thought of my partner Greg while I was in the meditation, and instantly he was there in my awareness, and we decided we would take off for a few minutes, and we floated up in the air together, and we were just like in an embrace, and we just floated up and then stopped and just spent like an eternity, but it was only like probably a minute together, just enjoying each other away from the group, and then I came back down. It was almost like he was there, but he wasn't in the circle, but he was like holding the space or something. It was really cool.
Michelle,
And,
that made me want to ask you a question. You mentioned this orb that everybody manifested, right? Do you think, because I see my Pleiadian collective in an orb, do you think that orb, as it got bigger, do you think that could have been a sign for it was a collective of all your energies together? Like in some way you guys were all in that orb, if that makes sense?
yeah, like I said, I joined I put my energies into the fire, and it created this orb, and then everybody started doing that as well, and the orb started growing.
Wow.
And yeah, it started growing and growing and growing as people started doing that. So yes, I do believe that was the collective. And I think I was talking the whole time. It's almost like I was there talking. There's another thing we did before we did that. We each took turns, like if you're sitting down, and I wasn't sitting in the lotus position when I was meditating, but in the meditation we were all sitting in the lotus position in a circle around the fire holding hands, and then our spirit would get up out of our bodies, like our bodies stayed grounded, and then we would go around. We went around to each person in the circle, and with our hand we would share soul codes by tapping on the right shoulder and then lifting your hand up and going over the head to the left shoulder, and then bowing with your hands in the prayer position, just bowing, like namaste.
Right.
And then everybody took a turn going around. Well, I first did it. I took a turn going around the circle, and by that touch, you're sharing soul codes, and then I imagined everybody else did that too. But we did it. It's almost like we did it really quick. So like that part only took about, I don't know, 4 minutes or so, because it was only a 20-minute meditation. But there's no time anyway.
Wow. 20 minutes.
So
what you guys did in 20 minutes, that's phenomenal, though.
So really, more than the observer, for me, I was making something of it in my imagination. So I wanted to put it out there so people can realize if they were tapped into it. And when you're practicing meditation, there may be some of them tonight that had a completely different experience, and that's okay too. Because this is an individual thing, and everybody interprets what they're seeing or feeling a little bit different. Some people may just have gone off, somewhere else in a beautiful meditation while they're receiving energies. I did ask my guides and angels before we started to send healing energies to everyone in the group that wanted to accept it and to work with their guides and angels to allow those energies to come in. And I guess the last thing I wanted to say is that I saw Daniel as an Indian chief with a big feathered mask on his face, which was like he was really dark and his face was real like weathered and wise, and he just was kind of like slumped over a little bit and was walking around the inner part of the circle around the fire. So I did see that image at one time. So I don't know what that means. Let me just check my notes here.
That's very cool.
Thank you. I mean,
Very
that's just what my experience was. Oh, and then the last thing I did, besides thanking, of course, everybody at the group and my guides and angels, but I thanked the fire. And then when I thanked the fire, it reminded me to thank the earth that we were grounded to, and the air, which was like, up in the mountains, and then the water element. When I thought of water, I thought about when I took a bath earlier today and did my cleansing. I just thanked the water as well. So that's what happened with my meditation. I really enjoyed it. I hope we can do it again.
Yeah,
Yeah, Daniel, you want to, or I mean Daniel, I got Daniel on my mind now. Tyler, do you want to expand on that a little bit?
yeah, absolutely. Um, the like global, I figured I finally found that link. It had to do. It was doors about to open. Was the name of the article from in 5D, and it had to do with a global consciousness dot. Because
Oh,
many times people can sense something is different in the air, but cannot quite put their finger on what it is. Many of us feel as though we are living in extraordinary times, yet we are unsure about what is to unfold. What we can tell from past history is that when we feel like this, a door is about to open. So how can this be measured as far as this global consciousness dot? And this I just thought was really cool technology as far as putting emphasis into or the algorithm to determine, um, whether it was significant network variance, which was represented by a color, or a minor one was represented by a different one. Which is very cool. So, but global consciousness, which is also sometimes called field consciousness, is the notion that when groups of people focus their minds on the same thing, they influence the world at large, which is quoted right in 1997, chapter 10. Roger Nelson heads the Global Consciousness Project, which is an organization that collects data from around the world in its effort to prove that global consciousness exists. Nelson published a study called Wishing for Good Weather, which appeared in the Journal for Scientific Exploration, 1997, volume 11, number 1. The following is an excerpt from the abstract. Reunion and commencement activities at Princeton University involving thousands of alumni, graduates, family, and others are held outdoors, and is often remarked they are always blessed with good weather. A comparison of the recorded rainfall in Princeton versus nearby communities shows that there is significantly less rain, less often in those Princeton on those days with major outdoor activities. If you are curious about what the global consciousness dot is and what it means, please refer to the following. And then on the actual article, it has the real-time global consciousness dot, which is currently indexed at a network variance, probable chance of fluctuation. It's yellow right now. So it's between 10 and 40%. So that's kind of what those group meditations I feel are very much like. It's a lot of grid building as far as our higher selves, making those connections and making those those conversations had, making sure that those conversations happen. And I definitely had noticed that I had summoned, because I invoked consciously Saint Germain into the circle, as well as, with myself and my higher self, and him as a guardian angel, or as a higher dimensional being, and summoned the archangel Metatron.
Yeah, I was just going to say Metatron. That's the one I would have used first, and then you beat me to the punch.
Metatron, and then also Blue Night, which was something that I had found out about Mayan calendar from Joshua Poet, which is just really cool stuff. I mean, it's definitely, a very bizarre, very interesting kind of astrology, as far as, what it takes all into account is, it's not it's more true to the you that you are when it comes to reading your horoscope, as far as, figuring out what your animal is, and just very
Mm-hmm.
cool stuff as far as that Mayan count. The I'm trying to actually, let me figure out exactly what the.
Well, see, Joshua Poet can be found on firstcontactradio.com, and Larry and I interviewed him on our Cosmic Awakening show. And you can find that link on cosmicstarseeds.com and go to the video tab. And I have all of the radio shows there, and also on the Cosmic Awakening Show Facebook page.
Yes, and as well,
And
I have a link to him on the YouTube channel, Pleiaian Express Productions. I have a link to his channel, which is very informative, and I don't know why I didn't have it on sooner, but it's there now.
yeah, that's a good place to get the link, because all I have is just the radio shows on mine. But yeah, he does the numerology and astrology and the Mayan calendar. He uses the Tolkien calendar to read not the images, but the symbols for each day. He does a show Monday through Friday, so each day is going to have a symbol, and he explains what that symbol means. It's a really interesting way to know, and basically the way he described it is it's just an energy signature, because we live in cycles, and so we're all, while we're incarnated here, we're all going to have we're all going to be repeating the same pattern of cycles, and so since it's happened before, then we pretty much know what to expect, and so it's an energy signature that we can know more about and know how to plan our day a little better.
I found the exact article, and that's what it is built around, is being able to release ourselves from the karmatic timelines, and the cycles of repetition, and giving ourselves forgiveness first, and loving ourselves, and then being able to find forgiveness to other people, and then love and forgiveness for those people.
That's beautiful.
But starroot.com, and
Oh, that one, yeah. Yeah, that's a great one, starroot.com to check out. And as far as the unity consciousness goes, this meditation that we had tonight for this frequency upload, it was also a dual meaning or purpose for this meditation, and of course it was to spread love, throughout the group. And then when we expanded our consciousness, in my opinion, when I saw this orb grow, that was just everybody's love that was growing to encompass. It got bigger than the planet, so to encompass the planet with love as well. And I'm sure that by everyone being together in that meditation, as you said, Tyler, it does create a grid. We are all connected, and so by intending that we're connected at that particular time with each other, it creates a grid, and which is probably like a geometric pattern within the circle to begin with. And that's very powerful. I mean, that's when you intend to do something like that, it's very powerful. And the circle thing just simply came from me. I mean, that's just my perspective. came from me imagining that we were sitting in a circle. Um, somebody else could have a completely different experience of what they felt or saw. But for those who did, I had mentioned it before the meditation that I was going to, imagine we were in a circle. So for those other people who imagined that we were in a circle, it might have made it a little bit easier to make a connection. I don't know. This is really my first time experiencing a group meditation. What do you think, Tyler?
My first time doing an intention, the one that I did before was on Water Day, and it was like they're called Unity or something. I think it's like unity.org. But they have one on like Earth Day, and they're intention meditations. So they posted a lot of things on Facebook as far as going to your biggest local body of water and intending to meditate with a group of people about loving for water. And on Earth Day, they did one for Earth. So I mean, getting together in groups like that and just making it an intention of transmuting and ultimately, bringing as much love to the equation as we possibly can, because love is that great, uh, denominator, because it's always the thing that we will have as far as this dimension goes, in all dimensions really, because I mean it is a universal shift is ultimately what we're wanting for. So getting together on those with people who are like-minded, it is reinforcing that grid work that we may not be able to see necessarily with our mortal third-dimensional eyes that basically flip the pictures around in our own mind anyways. But
Mm-hmm.
using our third eye, our pineal gland, using that as our creative and imaginative side to create the future and to manifest portals with other individuals like that, where you're doing
Mm-hmm.
group meditation, where the specific intent is to just help one another and to be there for others as we're all growing, because that's really what it's about. It's about growing and contributing. Is my faith as far as why we're all here doing it. I mean, doing it in this consciousness, like why we're conscious now in this lifetime.
Right. Yeah, and we're bringing more of that consciousness of our higher self and our soul into this reality. The more we grow our light and expand our light, in my opinion, and that's how we access the experiences of our past lives or future lives or parallel lives, however term you want to put on it, so we can heal those. Yeah, and another thing I wanted to mention is that the group that, as Larry had mentioned, extraterrestrial communication, star people contact. If you want to join this meditation, this is a very interesting thought. You know, the meditation occurred in no time. So at any time, if you, after listening to this, if you would like to join that group and get on the frequency upload event page for May 31st of 2014, you can actually go into meditation anytime and go back to that period and join that meditation and put your intentions into that. That's a very interesting way to think about things, isn't it?
That it is, because exactly time doesn't exist. So once you're able to tap into just the frequency of the fact that it has happened along the timeline, you're able to be like, okay, I can go back and sit inside the shoes of someone who had experienced that firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool. I kind of almost think of that as a form of telepathy and out of body experience, is when you're able to literally put yourself in someone else's shoes, whereas almost you can feel as if you were looking out through their eyes, which is one of the biggest, I think, traits of an empath, is basically being able to do that, but some people confuse that as like, oh, I'm schizophrenic because I feel like I'm looking out through someone else's personality. It's like, no,
Mm.
you're just a highly sensitive empath, and you're able to
Yeah, and I
literally
think the
see through
three of
a
us
person's
are
eyes and
empaths
be
for sure.
in that person's shoes. It's
Mm-hmm.
a lot about cleaning up, being able to clean up your thoughts, and to know that the divine spark comes from, contact with your spirit guides, and your higher dimensional selves. Those are the beings that are being more anchored into this consciousness and this ascension and that shift. They're coming through more and more
Yes,
every day, I feel.
I feel so too, but I also want to mention that I go all the way to the top, Tyler. I mean, I start on the chain and I go all the way and connect with Creator each time. And I mean, you might as well. I mean, why not go? Why not go all the way? Go ahead and intend when you're doing this that you're connecting all the way back to Creator.
That's good advice. Thank you. I will
Hmm.
definitely do that.
Yeah, and
And
I
You're
just
there's
want to.
absolutely right. That is that sense of oneness and that
hmm
transcendental meditation, that feeling of being infinitely connected to everything
hmm
simultaneously, past, present, future, all dimensions happening concurrently at that exact moment.
Yeah, definitely. And I wanted to add to you guys that I would go ahead and when this gets posted, I'm going to put a link to the group as well that you mentioned, the extraterrestrial communication and star people contact. I'll go ahead and put a link
that'd be
on there.
great, Larry.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm getting a little tired. It's
Yeah.
1:07 in the morning here, but I wanted to mention one more thing before I go. And if you
Mhm.
guys want to keep chatting, then then go right ahead. But I'm excited to announce my new article that just got posted on n5d.com tonight, or I guess last night. This is the new morning for me,
For
but
you,
it's
yeah.
called yeah,
And Tyler.
it's called How to Raise the Magic of the Force Within You. And it talks about pretty much what we've been discussing here for meditation, but it also ties into how black magic has been controlling humanity, which was another article that I wrote on CosmicStarseeds.com, and it has a link within this article to that article. It talks about um, the different forms of black magic, just some examples uh, that have been used in intention and spelling to control us. And then it talks about how to overcome that, and that's by connecting with the force within you. And I wrote a meditation on here, inside this article, for people to make their intentions known on freeing themselves from any kind of spells or negative energy or implants or anything. So this is the first meditation that I've written and put out there, and it is something that I wanted to share with everybody tonight since we were talking about meditations.
Great, and I posted it to several of the groups as well, so it's out there, and I would really encourage everybody to check that out. And you're right, it is getting kind of late. It's been a long weekend. I think before we go and let everybody know where they can find us on Facebook, Tyler, do you have anything real quick that you'd like to add before we go ahead and wrap up?
Yeah, Tyler, go ahead and finish up whatever you need to say. I'm going to go ahead and bow out tonight. Good night,
Okay,
guys.
Michelle, and much love to you, and we know where we can find you. Before you bow out, did you want to give us another rundown, or do you think people already know?
Oh, no. CosmicStarseeds.com or Facebook, Cosmic Starseeds, or the Cosmic Awakening Show Facebook, or N5D.com.
Anyway,
Thank you, Larry.
you're so welcome, and you're a holistic life coach as well. Much love,
Oh,
sweetie.
yeah. Thank you, Tyler, for joining me tonight.
Thank you, Michelle. Good night, darling.
Good night.
Namaste, sweetie. Mr. Biedebach.
Yes, sir.
Hey. The
Yes, sir. One
yes.
thing I did want to bring up as far as, resonance goes, because the Facebook group and, the intent of this one in particular was kind of a debrief on this frequency group, this Facebook group. One article that I would really encourage people to check out is the Schumann resonance, which is 432 hertz. And I actually was looking today, and there's even one that's above that. And basically, it talks about retransmuting your music so that it's actually on a higher frequency, and it makes more geometrically beautiful patterns. Really cool stuff for meditation. It's definitely stuff you would want to wear headphones when you're listening to.
Okay.
Just very, very interesting. I usually end up thinking about dolphins for some reason when I do those kind of meditations. Something about those big, long, vibratory waves that just kind of seem to stretch out to infinity. They're dark blue and purple waves that kind of stretch out. Those are usually the kind of things. But yeah,
It's a
In5D's
Pleiadian
got
thing.
them. There's a 1 hour long resonance meditation for them to check out, and definitely check out the Southeast Pleiadian group is the one that I'm the head of. I have a recent article on WordPress.com, the Udra, which is .wordpress.com. It's called the New Earth Teachers of Starseed Children. It is just kind of a sample article about a channeling that I had, and just want to give big shout out to you, Larry. Thank you for always for having the Pleiadian talk rocking. It's always great.
Locking and loading, man. And hey, as far as you want to run that what was that article you mentioned again? The Schumann report as well.
The Schumann resonance meditation.
Resonance meditation.
432 hertz.
Okay.
Schumann resonance meditation. Sounds in 5D.
It's in N5D, and I would encourage everybody to check out Greg Prescott's N5D.com. All the information all the truthful, heart resonating information you could ever want is on that site. And not only that, it's free. There's a search engine there. You can look into anything, that you could possibly think of. Well, within reason, but pretty much so. Everything is there, and Greg's really done a great job in putting that together, and I'd like to send a shout out to him as well, and all the crew over there and all the staff that helps with that. It's just really a wonderful thing. And Tyler, you mentioned Pleiadian Southeast that you're the head of. Is there anywhere else that you'd like to give a shout out to, or anywhere else that maybe they could find you on Facebook before I go into my spiel about where they can find me?
Man, I've picked it up the reins right alongside. I'm with you. I'm in the Fringe group. I love checking that out. I spend a lot of time on the Fringe Thinkers. That's Fringe, not French. Thinkers, and the different Pleiadian Woodstock. There's about 20 groups now of the different Pleiadians. Just like to give a shout out to my higher selves and all the people out there who are doing their part to tread water and to excel themselves as higher dimensional beings.
Sounds good, man. And as I hear the music coming on to end the show, I would like to also let everybody know that you can find me at the Fringe Thinkers, like Tyler mentioned. That's my personal group. You can also find me on the Pleiadians, Leah Shapiro's mothership group, almost 25,000 strong, and all the regional Pleiadian groups. And much love, peace, amen, goodbye, and namaste to everybody out there. Much love to you, brother, and we'll talk to you soon.
Peace.